Hi, and welcome to Focus on English.
This is a calm English podcast for listening and real conversations.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is really great to have you here with us today.
We are so happy you decided to join us, and today we have a very special deep dive prepared for you.
That's right. Usually we take this huge stack of articles and reports and data, and we just, break down a complex news topic or some massive tech trend.
But not today.
But today we are doing something a little different. We're turning the spotlight entirely on you and your personal journey with the Honor English language.
Exactly. We've been reading through some truly fascinating sources about language learning. We looked at advice from polyglots, those incredible people who speak 5 or 6 languages.
Wow.
And we looked at the psychology of how we build habits. And we noticed a very specific pattern in all the data.
We did. It seems that almost every learner reaches a certain point and then, they stop growing. They hit a wall. In the teaching world and in the articles we read, this is called the intermediate plateau.
The intermediate plateau. It sounds a bit like a place on a map, doesn't it?
It does. And in a way it is. It's that place where you know enough English to survive, right?
Yeah.
You can order food, you can watch a movie with subtitles, you can understand us right now.
Right.
But it is incredibly hard to get to that next level, the B2 or C1 level, where you feel truly fluent and effortless.
Mm-hmm. Moving from good enough to great is often the hardest part of the journey. But don't worry.
Oh.
To help you climb that mountain and get off that plateau, we have selected 5 specific English words from our sources. And these aren't just random vocabulary words, they're tools.
Think of them as the 5 keys you need to unlock the next level of your English. We're going to explore them, explain what they mean, and most importantly, discuss the psychology behind them.
And we want this to be active practice for you. We don't want you to just listen passively while you do the dishes. We really want you to participate.
Yes.
So for every word we discuss, try to think of a sentence that applies to your life.
Yes, exactly. If you're listening on a platform that has comments, please write your example sentence in the comments section. Writing it down helps move the word from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. It helps the vocabulary stick.
Stick. That is actually a hint for one of our words later.
Oh, a little preview.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Today we are covering 5 words. Rely on, struggle, mindset, stick with, and adjust.
These words are going to be so useful for your daily life. Shall we jump into the first one?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's unpack the first phrase. It is a phrasal verb. Rely on.
Rely on. This is a very common and a very strong phrase in English.
Now, before we get into the heavy stuff, how would we define rely on in simple, everyday terms?
To rely on someone means, it means to trust them completely. It means you need them for support or for help.
So you count on them.
You count on them, and if you rely on something, you expect it to work or happen without failure.
It's very similar to saying count on, isn't it?
It is. In fact, one of our sources, A Guide on Essential Phrasal Verbs, lists rely on and count on as synonyms. They mean almost the same thing. But rely on has this feeling of necessity.
I saw a great example in the source material about friendship. It talked about 2 friends who have known each other since they were kids. It said they rely on each other for support every day.
That is a beautiful example. It shows a deep trust. But here is where it gets interesting for our listeners. The sources also talk about what tools we rely on to learn. For example, in language learning, you often rely on a dictionary when you don't know a word.
That's a classic example. You trust the dictionary to give you the right answer. But let me ask you something based on the research we read. Is it possible to rely on something too much?
That is a fascinating question. And the article suggests that yes, you can. For example, if you rely on Google Translate for every single sentence, your brain never does the hard work. You're relying on the tool, not building your own skill.
That makes sense. It's like using a crutch. It helps you walk, but your leg muscles don't get stronger.
Exactly. So we need to balance what we rely on. We should rely on good resources, but we shouldn't rely on them to do the thinking for us.
I have to admit, in my daily life, I am guilty of this with technology. When I travel to a new city, I rely on digital maps completely.
You and me both.
If my phone battery dies, I am in big trouble. I have a terrible sense of direction. I rely on that little blue dot on the screen to tell me where to go.
I think many of us do. That is a perfect use of the word. We trust the technology. We need it to function.
So rely on can be for people like relying on your parents or things like relying on your car to get to work.
Exactly. It's about that support system.
Yeah.
Now, I want to turn this over to you, the listener. Think about your daily routine. Who or what do you rely on every day?
Maybe you rely on coffee to wake up. I know I do.
Yeah.
Or maybe you rely on a specific app to study English.
Whatever it is, take a moment to write a sentence in the comments using rely on. We would love to see what supports your life.
Okay, moving on. Let's look at our second word. This one describes a feeling we all have, especially when we're trying to learn something new. The word is struggle.
Struggle. It's a very powerful word, and honestly, it's a word that many learners are a bit afraid of.
It does sound a bit heavy, the struggle. It sounds negative. What does it actually mean in this context?
To struggle means to try very hard to do something that is difficult. It means you're having a hard time. It's not easy. You are fighting against a difficulty.
So if I am trying to lift a box that weighs, say, 50 kilos and I can barely move it, I am struggling.
Yes, exactly. You are struggling to lift the box. But here is the deep dive part. In our source material about learning English, this word came up in a really positive context.
Positive. How can struggling be positive?
Well, the research talks about something called the zone of proximal development, or more simply, the Goldilocks zone.
Goldilocks, you mean from the story with the three bears. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right.
Exactly. The source suggests that if you don't struggle at all, if everything is easy, you aren't learning. You're just repeating what you already know.
Okay.
But if you struggle too much, you give up.
So you need that middle ground. You need to struggle just a little bit.
Precisely. The article mentioned listening to podcasts. If a podcast is too fast, you might struggle to keep up. You struggle to catch the words.
And if you struggle to catch every single word, it just becomes frustrating.
Right. So the advice is, accept the struggle. I struggle to understand native speakers when they talk fast. That is a normal sentence. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you are challenging yourself.
I like that reframing. It makes it feel like a workout for the brain.
It is. Just like at the gym. If you don't struggle to lift the weight, your muscles don't grow.
Oh.
Here are some other examples of how we use this word naturally. He struggles to get out of bed on Monday mornings.
I think everyone relates to that one.
Here's another one. Many students struggle with complex grammar rules.
Oh, definitely. I remember struggling with conditional sentences for a long, long time. It felt like math, not language.
It is a normal part of the process. Is there anything you struggle with in your daily routine right now?
Honestly, I struggle to find time to exercise. I'm always so busy with work and recording these deep dives. By the end of the day, I'm tired, and I struggle to get off the couch and go for a run.
That is a very real struggle. But admitting it is the first step to fixing it right.
Absolutely. Okay, listeners, let's be honest with each other. Is there something you struggle with in English? Maybe it's pronunciation. Maybe it's finding the right word.
Don't be shy. Everyone struggles with something. In fact, sharing your struggle can help you find people who can help you. Tell us in the comments, I struggle with, and let us know.
Okay, let's move to word number 3. This connects directly to how we deal with that struggle. This word is a favorite of mine because it changes everything. The word is mindset.
Mindset. This is a great word. It's become very popular in psychology and business recently.
Simply put, what is a mindset?
Your mindset is your way of thinking. It is your attitude. It's the collection of opinions and beliefs you have about something, and specifically about yourself.
So it's like the operating system of your brain.
That is a perfect analogy. You can have the best apps, the best vocabulary, and grammar books. But if your operating system, your mindset, is buggy, the apps just won't work.
We found this word in a really inspiring article by a polyglot named Christina. She wrote about her plan to go from beginner to intermediate, and she talked about mindset shifts.
Yes, I love that section. She said that to learn a language successfully, you need the right mindset. Specifically, she said you need to see mistakes as data, not as failures.
I love that. Mistakes are data. That is a growth mindset.
Exactly. If you have a fixed mindset, you might say, oh no, I made a mistake. I am terrible at English. I'll never learn.
But if you have a growth mindset, you say, oh, I made a mistake. That's interesting. Why did I do that? Now I know what not to do next time.
Precisely. The situation is the same. You made a mistake. But the mindset changes how you react to it.
So let's look at how to use this in a sentence. We could say, to learn a language, you need a positive mindset.
Or, she has a strong mindset. She never gives up.
And one more. Changing your mindset can change your life. It sounds dramatic, but the research supports it.
It really does. If we connect this to the bigger picture, many people stay on the intermediate plateau, not because they aren't smart, but because they have a fixed mindset. They believe they just aren't good at languages.
That's a trap. You have to believe you can improve.
Exactly. I try to keep a growth mindset in my own life. When I try something new, like, say, cooking a new recipe, and it burns.
You struggle with cooking.
I do struggle with cooking, but my mindset is, well, at least I learned not to set the oven that high.
That is the spirit. Listeners, think about your attitude. Do you have a positive mindset about learning English?
Or maybe you need to change your mindset about something else. Write a sentence using the word mindset, for example. I am trying to have a positive mindset about my job.
Okay, we are more than halfway through. Let's look at word number 4. We have the support, rely on. We accept the difficulty, struggle. We have the right attitude, mindset. Now we need action. The phrase is stick with.
Stick with. This phrase is the secret to success. It is a phrasal verb.
What does it mean to stick with something?
To stick with something means to continue doing it. It means you do not quit, even when it is hard, even when it's boring, or even when you don't see results immediately.
It's similar to stick to, right? Like glue.
Yes. Think of a sticker or a piece of tape. It stays where you put it. When you stick with a plan, you stay with the plan. You don't fall off.
We saw this in the advice about podcasts again. The expert said there are so many podcasts out there. News, comedy, stories. It is easy to get shiny object syndrome.
Right, where you jump from one app to another, one book to another. The advice was pick one favorite and stick with it.
Why is that so important? Why can't I just try everything?
Because consistency beats intensity. That was a key takeaway from our sources. If you jump from one method to another, you never get deep practice. You need to stick with one method for a while to see results.
That makes sense. It's like digging a well for water. If you dig 10 shallow holes, you find no water. If you stick with one hole and dig deep, you find it.
That is a great metaphor. Here are some examples. If you stick with your English lessons, you will become fluent.
That is a promise. Here's another one, which is very relatable. It is hard to stick with a diet during the holidays.
Oh, tell me about it. With all that good food, sticking with a salad is impossible.
And one more for work situations. Please stick with the plan. Do not change it.
Have you ever started a hobby that you didn't stick with?
Oh, definitely. A few years ago, I decided I wanted to learn to play the guitar. I bought a guitar. I watched videos.
Do you play now?
No, I didn't stick with it. My fingers hurt so much. I struggled with the chords. My mindset wasn't strong enough, so I didn't stick with it. I quit after like 2 weeks.
That happens to the best of us. This is actually called the Valley of Disappointment in habit psychology. It's that period where you work hard, but you see no results. That is when most people quit.
But if you can stick with it through that valley, that is where the growth happens.
Yes. Even if it is just 10 minutes a day, sticking with it is the only way to win.
So listeners, tell us, what is a habit you want to stick with this year?
Maybe it is reading news in English. Maybe it is walking every day. If you are typing a comment, tell us. I want to stick with.
All right, we have arrived at our final word, word number 5. This one is the partner to stick with. Because sometimes sticking with the plan isn't enough. Sometimes the plan is wrong. The word is adjust.
Adjust. ADJUST.
What does it mean to adjust something?
To adjust means to change something slightly. You don't change it completely. You don't throw it away. You just change it a little bit to make it better or to fit new conditions.
So it's about fixing or fine-tuning.
Exactly. For example, in our source about listening to podcasts, there's a great technical tip. If the speaker is talking too fast, you don't have to quit.
And you don't have to just suffer and struggle through it.
Right. You can adjust the playback speed. Most apps let you change the speed to 0.75.
That is a game changer. You adjust the speed to make it easier to understand.
Right. And as you get better, you can adjust it back to normal speed. It's a tool for learning.
Here are some other examples. You can adjust the volume if the music is too loud.
Or a more abstract one. When you move to a new country, you must adjust to the culture.
That means you have to change your behavior a little bit to fit in. You don't become a different person, but you adjust your habits.
Yes, or in business. If the plan doesn't work, we can adjust it. We don't have to throw the plan away, just adjust it.
But wait, isn't this contradictory? We just told everyone to stick with their plan. Now we're telling them to adjust it.
That is the tricky balance. You stick with the goal learning English, but you adjust the method. If you're trying to study at 5 a.m. and you're always too tired, don't quit studying. Just adjust the time.
Ah, I see. Be stubborn about the goal, but flexible about the method.
Exactly. For instance, I used to keep my water bottle in the kitchen to help me drink more water, but I never went there. So I adjusted my environment. Now I keep the bottle right on my desk next to my computer.
A small adjustment, but did it work?
It helped immensely. Being willing to adjust is so important. Life changes, schedules change. You have to adjust.
For example, you were telling me earlier that you had to adjust your study time for your own language learning recently.
Yes, I used to study in the morning, but I started a new job schedule. I couldn't stick with the morning routine, so I adjusted. Now I study in the evening.
That is a perfect example. You didn't quit, you just adjusted.
Listeners, have you ever had to adjust a plan? Or maybe adjust something in your house to make life easier?
Tell us in the comments. I had to adjust.
We really want to read your sentences.
Okay, we've covered 5 amazing words today. These aren't just vocabulary, they are a strategy for learning. Let's do a quick recap before we go to ensure everything sticks.
Great idea. Repetition is key to learning.
Word number 1 was rely on.
That means to trust or need someone. You need to build a system you can rely on, but don't let it do all the work for you.
Word number 2 was struggle.
That means to find something difficult or to try very hard. Remember the Goldilocks rule. Some struggle is good. It means you are learning.
Word number 3 was mindset.
That is your attitude or way of thinking. Mistakes are data. If you have a growth mindset, you will improve faster.
Word number 4 was stick with.
That means to continue and not quit. Consistency beats intensity. Stick with your habits, even when it gets boring.
And word number 5 was adjust.
To change slightly to make something better. If the plan isn't working, don't quit. Just adjust the method.
Those are our 5 words. Rely on, struggle, mindset, stick with, adjust.
If you put them together, it's actually a recipe for success. You rely on good tools, you accept the struggle, you keep a positive mindset, you stick with your routine, and you adjust when life gets crazy.
Wow, look at you using all 5 in one paragraph. That was impressive.
I try my best. I hope that summary helps our listeners see the big picture.
Now we want to remind you one last time. Active practice is the best practice. We have given you the theory, but you have to do the work.
Please choose at least one of these words, or all of them if you're feeling ambitious, and write your own sentences in the comments. We read the comments, and it really helps build our community of learners.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought from our sources. It's something we touched on earlier.
Consistency beats intensity. It is much better to practice for 10 minutes every day than to study for 5 hours on Sunday and then do nothing the rest of the week.
That is so true. Small steps taken every day lead to big changes. You are moving towards that B2 level, getting off that intermediate plateau, and we are really proud of the work you are doing.
Absolutely. You are doing a great job. Keep listening, keep practicing, and keep that positive mindset.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We hope these words help you build a stronger, more resilient English routine.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. Or as one of our sources says simply, have a nice day.
See you next time.
Thank you for listening. If this podcast helps you practice English, feel free to subscribe. See you next time.